Hey, I'm Stephanie, and this is Dirty Money Talk, where I interview my favorite entrepreneurs and influencers to help release the stigma of discussing the F word, finances, baby. Let's do this. Hey, y'all, it's your girl, Stephanie Arrington. I'm here with my favorite co-host. No mic there.
They're Walton chilling in the Colorado mountains.
Okay, thank you for the Colorado mountains. Let's get things started with this week's Black Wall Street update. Dale, what came across your timeline this week?
Well, Stephanie, it's very, very interesting you asked. And I know the last couple of episodes we've been talking about, we had vaccines, we was talking about Pfizer making, $33 billion with that original vaccine
Billion?
they put out. 33 billion.
With a B, y'all.
With a B. $billion in one single year of selling their vaccination. Just them. That's not including all the rest of Moderna's, the AstraZeneca, the Johnson & Johnson.
Did you just say AstraZeneca?
AstraZeneca. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I say extra vinegar.
Yeah, add extra vinegar to it. You know what I'm saying? That's probably what's in it. All up in your arm. But anyway, so they made $33 billion, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now the recent news with them being approved for federally by the FDA, how does this increase their stock value? Right? Is this a stock that you go run to now? Because with that federal approval, and they're the only ones with that federal approval, there are going to be some things that they can do that the other people cannot do.
Like what?
Like, for instance, mandatory schools. Being mandatory in schools.
Okay.
If the only vaccination is mandatory in schools, we know how much cha-ching that could bring.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot.
So federal approval, there are things that you can do and places you can go that you can't go before you had that. And that right now, people that had it. So that might be a stock to consider.
Okay.
Immediately.
Yeah, I looked at the prices on it in the last couple of weeks. It wasn't as high as I thought it was going to be. It's right. Somewhere like $50 or something a share.
It's really not that high, that expensive. You'd be surprised how not expensive it is. But sometimes when things like this hit, this is the time to jump on it before it jumps. You know what I'm saying? That's the what you're trying to do with stocks anyway, jump before the price goes up. But something like this can cause a major price bump in that stock.
Okay.
And even related to this, that I just kind of saw that was kind of attached to that. Since the federal approval of this, now companies are starting to make their employees pay for being unvaccinated.
Really? And what industries that you know of?
Okay, like for instance, Delta Airlines, right, specifically, are going to add a $200 monthly insurance premium charge if you're not vaccinated.
Whoa.
$200 for insurance, because they're saying you're more likely to go to the hospital if you're not vaccinated.
Oh, so that raises your premium.
So that raises your premium up $200 a month.
Risk.
So you get paid bi-weekly, that's $100 a paycheck, do the math. So that's
so they're trying to find some ways to mitigate or manage their risk in covering their employees.
Exactly.
Y'all, we've been talking about risk management the last couple of episodes and stuff, so please pay attention that in business you have to consider how to mitigate any potential loss to your bottom line, period.
Absolutely.
And it sounds inhumane, but as Alex told us, I can't say nothing about Alex on this part because he wasn't on it. Anyway, all right, so I'll cut that.
Right. So yeah, so they're actually charging their employees the $200, and they claim that their prices for it being insured, you know, the company pays a part of that insurance premium,
Mm-hmm.
is going to $50,000
Ooh.
if the person is not vaccinated.
Mm.
Which to me questions, I'm like, so when did you have to report that to your insurance company, who's vaccinated and who's not? And second, how do you know they're vaccinated or not? You know?
That's a very good question, because I guess that employers will rely on your vaccination card. But that, as we know, there are some counterfeit cards in circulation across the country. So how would an employer really know if you have the vaccination or not? Are they going to require you to be tested? So I know that in some school districts in our area, they are mandating the vaccine for their teachers. Okay, so they're making them get it. And if not, you have to subject yourself to, I guess, weekly COVID tests on site.
Right.
So
now, I would do that. I mean, if that's the deal, I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, if you were going to be in lieu of it, but for you to charge them, you know what I'm saying? You know, money, which in actuality, it doesn't make you any safer because you're making them pay money. You know what I'm saying? That does not change the safety of the office. It's the same thing, but they're just paying more money, you know? And I guess they're kind of equating it to being a smoker.
Mm-hmm.
Pay a higher premium if you're a smoker.
So now being unvaccinated is considered as risky as ingesting nicotine. Interesting.
Very interesting. Which they don't include drinking or anything else, but okay.
I think you're onto something.
Yeah.
That is very it's disheartening to think, especially when you also see stories about certain like states that are offering cash incentives to being vaccinated. I think in Maryland here where we are, they had like a lottery. And I think there was like a $40,000 award, a prize for getting the vaccine. Like randomly, they were like selecting, you know, vaccine recipients, and somebody got rained on. I'm like, wow.
Yeah. Well, how about in Ohio? Well, how about in Ohio? They have $1 million lottery only for the vaccinated. Only if you're vaccinated, you can get into this lottery and you have a chance at $1 million.
Now you have to really consider, like, you know, that's a lot of money. And why would they be willing to drop this money on you this bad? Do y'all do your research? Do your own research, y'all?
We've never seen anything like this in history.
Ever.
In the history of medicine.
Mm-hmm.
They've never, I mean, think of all the things that they needed you to do over your lifetime. Like, you know, things that they need or they made mandatory.
Like tetanus shots. What the hell is tetanus? Lockjaw.
You know what I'm saying? There's certain things that's mandatory, but never in the history have they ever did anything like this, you know? So
something to keep our eye on, because as we see, even things that we consider to be exclusively medical can have financial implications.
Absolutely.
And that's what we're trying to drive that point home to you guys. Speaking
what
of driving,
Miss Arrington.
Speaking of driving, we didn't get to talk about President Biden's $1 trillion infrastructure bill, which passed the Senate recently. It's currently going up for House approval soon, but it is expected to pass. It's a bipartisan effort that contains money and funding for rebuilding of roads, railroads, streets, bridges, everything like that in our community.
Okay, so like the main infrastructure of the country.
Yes, and this is something that the Obama administration had talked about and promised in terms of both of his campaigns. Infrastructure rebuilding has been a an Obama Biden staple. I
Mhm.
don't know that we got to see any of that in any meaningful way, but hopefully this go around that will be something that, you know, actually takes flight, because it's very important. The other part of that, which I want you all to listen to and think about, when you see a big billion-trillion-dollar bill passing, figure out where the money reside. Where is the money going? If they're doing infrastructure and rebuilding buildings, roads, bridges, railroads, think steel, concrete, construction. Okay,
Absolutely.
so start doing your research on who are the power players in steel, who's the big boys in concrete, or the big girls, however you take that. And do a little research and find out if that's an area where you can get in before the bump. Okay. Number two, the second thing that's included, the second thing that's included in the bill is money for education in terms of the school buildings themselves. So they want to, you know, invest in new ventilation systems, as well as repair and restore the crumbling buildings. The buildings across the public schools all across the country are in disrepair, and they are very outdated, and they could use, you know, some freshening up and some modernization in terms of ventilation, especially in the post-COVID or the COVID era. So that's one thing. And again, in looking for who are the power players, where the money reside, HVAC, construction. Start to do your research about who are the big players in these industries and how can you get in. Do a little homework. Won't take you but a few clicks. Another item in the bill is green energy. And once again, this is something that we've seen from the Obama-Biden administration. They talked a lot about sustainable green energy.
Right.
I would love to see it happen.
Incentives for electric cars and stuff. Remember the electric cars? They gave you the incentive to buy one.
Yeah, there were tax incentives. You know, on your federal taxes, you could get a credit for, you know, buying a hybrid or an all-electric vehicle. And that's been in place. I'm serious, like the last 10 years, they've been offering that type of incentive. And you're seeing a lot more electric and hybrid models on the road. But I don't think we're there yet. And I'm concerned that, you know, the coal industry and all these other fossil fuels, they have such a stronghold in the US economy. Green energy initiatives have not really taken off the way that I would have loved to see. As you all know, we are experiencing a lot of global warming type of symptoms on Earth. I mean, it's really bad, and I don't want to be, you know, gloomy about it, but let's just hope that this bill passes and that they really do with the money the things that they have said. So in keeping with our theme, please take the opportunity to look at who the big players are in green energy here and abroad. Take the time, look it up, find out who it is, and then you can see if you can get ahead of the curve and, you know, make some money. And when you do, call me. I'd appreciate a little kudos and a couple thousand. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I know that's right.
That's all I have for the Black Wall Street update this week. On behalf of the Dirty Money Talk podcast, I'd like to welcome a dear friend of mine, Mr. Alexander Harris of Rooted Delights. Hang on one sec and I will let him in. Hey, Al, how are you?
Hey, how you doing?
Doing very well. Thank you. Don't come on here with your office voice. Speak to Stephanie.
What's up, bro? What's happening? What's up?
Hey, Alex. This is our co-host, Dale. This is my bestie bud from way back in the late 80s, whatever.
Nice to meet you, brother.
We are very happy that you were able to join us tonight. We do appreciate you, as always. Okay, so first, I would like you to tell our listeners and our audience about you. Who is Alex Harris?
Oh, well, me personally, I'm just a guy from Richmond, Virginia, who got in over his head by moving into DC and meeting Steph. um,
What?
it did. But for the most part, I've dabbled in a lot of things. Right now, I am creating vegan products. But initially, I met Steph when I was building an app. I was an app developer, product manager. And as I was building that up and I started to see how much time and how much money that takes to actually build out a residual income on a platform it requires a lot of tools. I started to pivot and I transitioned into the vegan products because, I started to eat vegan products. I started eating more plant-based, and then that transferred to, me being passionate about that to actually creating a product. And the product that we created is vegan cheese. We have a cheddar and a mild matzo. And that product is in stores. We sell it locally and we sell it to wholesale vendors like pizza spots, burger spots, etc.
Okay. Well, since you mentioned it, please give us a little deeper history of the Rooted Delights brand. How did you guys come up with the name?
Well, the name was created before I came into the picture. And so the name was created and I just came up with the actual product because I found out for people of color, it is hard to give up certain products. One of the products is hard for us as people, melanated people, is cheese. Cheese is a hard product for us to give up. And I started to see, I did a lot of research on cheese. I'm not a biochemist, but I just started actually researching and starting to see exactly what were the issues with cheese. And so for me, I've been on a sleep machine for probably like 4 or 5 years of my life.
Oh, what, the CPAP?
Yeah, I had a CPAP machine. And so when I met Janae, she was telling me about how, cheese is one of the leading issues of people having a lot of mucus and a lot of issues with your breathing. And so, that's the only thing I didn't give up. I was like, I can be vegetarian, but I can't give up cheese. I can't give up sour cream. I need that. I need that on my tacos, man.
I know that's right. I know that's right.
Tacos and nachos.
Love some cheese, man. Love some cheese. Absolutely.
So I couldn't get that up. I was like, hold up. You got my
Smoked
cheese.
Gouda all day.
Smoked Gouda is good.
Smoked Gouda is delicious. Love it.
So I put cheese and everything. So I was like, I can't get that up. So so I started researching exactly like the products that were out at that time, and I was like, all right, cool. Let me see what's out. And so we used to go and get vegan food, and I was like, this is awful. Like, they got no black.
It was bad.
Like,
it was that bad.
It was that bad. I was like, this cheese is awful, man. It's like they needed some seasoning or something. I'm not taking that from. That's all it needed is seasoning. So we was like, this cheese needs seasoning. You know what I'm saying? Like if it had seasoning in it, it'd be all right. It's just so bland. And I know how our people and our taste buds is not. I'm not gonna say different, but we require we have a certain palate. You know what I'm saying? Like that mac and cheese got to be cut up right. You know what I'm saying? You got to make the cheeses in cubes. I want to see that melt. You got to put the butter. You need the whole 9 yards. And so I was like, I said, if we just come out with a seasoned cheese, we win. And we came out with we put cheese together, and we actually it benefited. People liked it. And then I'm not talking about just people, melanated people. It was like people, all races like the cheese, because they need. And then it wasn't soy based, it wasn't nut based, and a lot of the cheese that were out was soy based and nut based.
Yeah.
The teacher, her sister is a teacher, so as we was making the product, she was like, "Can y'all not make a product that got nuts in it? Because in school they treat nuts like it's crack, like that. Like they write it on, please do not have nuts, please. If you have nuts, please be careful.
There's a lot of people allergic, right?
Yes.
There's a lot of people allergic to nuts. A lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so without you giving away anything proprietary, what are your products based on?
Oats. We use oats.
Oats.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's what's
So
up.
that's a product that everybody can eat. You know, we all eat oatmeal. So I was just like, hey, we all eat oatmeal.
Oh, that's what's up, man.
Okay. So he said he's not a biochem
And
major. He
no,
said
I'm
he's
not.
not a biochem major, but they
Mm.
was in the lab cooking up some good stuff.
Oh, they was
Oh,
cooking
yeah,
up some
yeah,
real
yeah,
good
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. Yep.
Alex, would you tell our viewers and listeners how they can find Rooted Delights products? Where
Well,
can
you
we
can
find
go, you can find me at rooteddelights.com, rooted delights with the S at the end.com. Oh, we can't get the product out to people due to the pandemic and COVID because it was sitting in trance. So a lot of the product we were shipping out because it's a perishable product. It was sitting at the mail stations for like 3 to 4 days, even with the ice packs and the whole 9 yards. It was spoiled because it wasn't getting to the consumer in a timely fashion. So we had to basically put the product on hold, and now we're working with a scientist to extend the shelf life. Now we're working with a chemist in Atlanta to help us extend the shelf life of the product.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. What I'm hearing is what I want our entrepreneur listeners to keep, to hone in on is that number one, Alex did a lot of research. He found something that was missing and researched ways of fulfilling that need. And then he just explained how they had some challenges after, the pandemic in terms of distributing their perishable product.
Right.
So now they had to regain. So for my entrepreneurs out there listening, he gave you some deep keys about a business plan. A lot of people get freaked out when you start talking about a business plan because they think that you need to write a 72-page document and this is your Bible and this and that. But in actuality, it's just a plan of how you're going to get things done. And it's a living document in that you have to go back and adjust it as things change.
Mm-hmm.
And also just to add to that, he found something that he was passionate about, and he found a need. Like, you know what I'm saying? When you feel a need, and a lot of times it's just that simple. It's something that you thinking about that I wish they had. I wish they had. And when you can say that and they don't have it, hey, why don't you go invent that?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what this brother did. You know what I'm saying? He took his mind and he did that. You know what I'm saying? And that's got to be admired. You got to admire that.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, you guys were doing. Oh, and I'm sorry, before we go any further, could you please tell us about your business partner, please? I heard you mention her name. Could you tell us about the other half of the Rooted Delights team?
Oh, so the other half of the Rooted Delights team, she is actually the chef. She is the founder of the product. She is not of the company. She had a food truck in Baltimore that she started, and she was selling vegan food. Then once she, decided that the need for she's the mad scientist, you know what I'm saying? Because she was seeing the need for cheese. She was like, the highest overhead cost for her was buying cheese. She was like, yo, my overhead cost is high for cheese. And cheese was expensive at that time because there wasn't that many people out. You had Daya, you had Child Cheese, and you had VO Life. And at that time, the cheese wasn't as it was now. Like, you got all type of cheeses now. You got vegan cheese, provolone. I mean, it's crazy. But at that time, it was only a few people that was out. And at that time, the price for cheese was high, being that we like mac and cheese. It takes a lot of mac and cheese to make, it takes a lot of cheese to make mac and cheese.
Yeah.
So especially when you
About
buy
6
vegan
cups
products,
of
you cut
cheese.
everything in half.
About 6 cups of cheese.
So yeah. You said what?
I said about 6 cups of cheese in my macaroni.
Oh yeah. That's about accurate. They cut everything in half when it's vegan. They just like, so let's say you get 8 ounces in a regular cheese, right? You're like, okay, I get 16. When you get vegan cheese, it's 8. So but you pay double the price. So
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So thank you for you didn't mention her full name. We do want to give her some
Oh
shine
yes,
too.
her name is Janae Jones, and she is the founder of Rooted Delights. You can, she is she is actually the face of the company. I'm just the back end guy. I just do all the fun stuff. I mean, she do the back end stuff too, but I mean, I do like all the social media, the paperwork. I didn't know so much paperwork involved when you dealing with cheese. I thought it was mostly like you know, product and you ship it out. Nah, it's a lot of paperwork. It's a lot. It's a lot. You know, stuffy on us about paperwork. Hey, I need this, and I'm like, whew. So it's a lot. It's a lot of paperwork. So
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for telling us some of the nitty gritty behind how you guys have been in operation. A lot of entrepreneurs that find themselves in your position, one thing that is a common complaint is they lack access to capital. Have you guys found, you know, startup capital like hard to come by? Have you just been bootstrapping? And by bootstrapping, I mean you work, save some money, and then you invest your own money into your operations. That's what most of us in our community are bootstrappers. What did y'all find in your?
I took the model, like, so you know, I developed the app, so I've realized the access to capital for people that look like us is hard to come by. So I started researching and I started learning more about utilizing business credit to build out your business and build out your business to the point where you feel like it's like a lean. So it's an MVP, minimal viable product, building a minimal viable product to the point where you can get access to funding based off of utilizing your business credit, And I say utilizing your business credit, basically setting up your business properly so you can have access to business credit, meaning having an LLC, having your articles, having a 411 directory list, having all these components. So when you go to a bank, they will give you access to that money that you need so you can actually build out your business to, scale up your business. And then as far as like building it out completely, I think we're at the point where we want to utilize licensing or utilize, so we can, like, we have like a lot of ideas in terms of what we want to do with the cheese, but us fundraising and us getting access to capital is becoming a lot more challenging, especially right now, because that access to capital is hard to come by. So we either was gonna license out our product or we was gonna actually work with getting a purchase order from a trade show, because we got a trade show coming up next year. Going to a trade show and getting purchase orders and using that purchase order as a form of collateral to, basically leverage with the bank so we can get the money, the funding.
Absolutely. Okay, so Shark Tank all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, so the concept behind securing a purchase order is basically like you can show the bank, like, look, we have a big order. We're going to fill this, so we do have a way of generating income, and they look at that as like a credit reference, basically.
Oh yeah, that's money to them. He's like, I don't know how to spend it. Like, I can I get this back? But then I'm just starting to understand, like, once you get the money, you don't spend it, you build back, you put it back into the business, you build back on it again. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's why you gotta get creative. Like, I was looking at commerce, because it's like, kitchens. The kitchens is expensive. Like, getting in the kitchen, and then when you're doing the product, especially a food product, you got to be within FDA regulations. So having that, looking at your overhead costs and be like, okay, what's costing the most money? You say, yo, buying kitchen spaces cost me a lot. So maybe I need to invest in a property, and I can use that property as collateral, and then I can actually utilize that property to build out my product or my food items, and I can be within FDA regulations as well. So that's how I think about it. Like, it's just always putting into it, taking courses. I mean, I took every course you can think of this year. I mean, I ain't had nothing but time.
These are
I know
all
y'all ain't had nothing but time. I was like, man, everybody had nothing but time. Like,
A lot of people had time. Yeah. Yep.
these are
That's one thing
all
cool.
things. These are all behaviors that help to make you more successful as an entrepreneur, because once you get beyond like product development, you still have to run the business.
right.
And this is something that I learned from Alex, is that marketing is everything. If
Right.
people don't know about you, they're not coming. I don't care how great you are at what you do. If they don't know about you, they can't find you. And speaking of which, why don't you drop your handles for me, bruh? Where can we find you on social media?
Rooted Delights on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Just Rooted Delights. Yeah.
That's what's up. That's
This
what's
is where
up.
it sounds. Rooted Delights, no spaces, no commas, no
No
hyphens.
spaces, no commas, no numbers, no hashtags. Yeah, just Rooted Delight.
Okay, all
Because
right.
you try to keep it simple.
Absolutely.
Don't make people think, man.
That makes it easiest to find. Absolutely.
Right. You gotta get that SEO up, man. I'm like, I just need to be easy. You know what I'm saying?
You have to have consistency in your branding. So your handles are reflective of branding. Alex is one of my favorite entrepreneurs, because he not only is, the talent in what he's doing, he's a researcher too. He and I used to have some wonderful conversations about workflow. Like some geeks, we'd be totally geeking out trying to set up a workflow, and some of the people that we were working with just had no respect for the process, and we'd be like, you know what, Alex gets it as far as having to do your homework. A lot of people like, hey, I'm really good at what I do, but they don't take the time to research the market. They don't take the time to research their process or develop uniform workflows and processes. That in itself is the business.
Oh my God.
You gotta know your audience first and foremost. You gotta have a plan to reach them and bring them back to you. And then your product has to be good.
Yeah.
Those three things in that order. All right.
I don't think the product has to be good no more though.
What?
I think as long as you do all the other ones, you're good. Like,
Hey Alex, did you buy that bad cheese again? Have you ate it?
Nope.
No, I didn't.
In your line of work,
hey, look, that better be
You're right.
good.
You're right.
In your line of work, especially, that shit don't fly.
That's right. That's true.
If it's nasty, I'd never buy it, and I'm gonna tell everybody it was nasty.
Yeah,
That's
you want
true,
return customers, it better be a good product.
Come on now. You're right.
Well, Leslie, you and I also had a conversation recently that I think would be of great interest to our whole 3.4 listeners. No, it went up. It's 5. We got 5 people. Yes. Thank you for subscribing.
Oh, yeah.
50% increase. Thank you very much.
They'll tell them, like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.
And subscribe.
Thank you. Another thing, you and I were talking about trust. And that is something that I've been dying to get the scoop on. And of course, we already know that Alex has done all the homework on this. So if you could enlighten our crowd a little bit, give us a little bit of the foundation, get a little touch of the base, just a little touch.
I'm gonna tell you how I ran into it. So I pay a lawyer about $3,000 to patent and trademark our products. And so it took him like forever to do it. He was like doing all this setting up. It took him like about 2 years. I haven't heard from him since, to be honest.
What?
So I was like, yeah. And so I was just like, because I mean, like for me, it's just like, I don't know. For me, it's like, if I get somebody something and I follow up with them, I'm gonna follow up with them, but I'm just want to figure out what's taking so long. So for me, I was like, what's taking so long? And so he was just telling us like someone else had the same name, but they're not a product. They were actually a business, a brick and mortar, but they had a product that was called Rooted in their brick and mortar. So I was like, I said, that's not essentially the same thing. So it was a lot of back and forth. So I just started getting interested about trademarks and copyrights. In the process of getting interested in trademarks and copyrights, I ran into trust. So trust instruments that are set up that allow you to basically put your property, your personal property, and all your assets into a separate account, but technically it's paperwork in an instrument. Trust, when you think of trust, you think of like, oh, it's like a bank account. It's actually like paperwork. And when you go set up a trust, you need a SS4 IRS document, basically specifying how you're going to set your trust up. What are the purposes of it for? If it's for checking purposes, banking purposes, foreign purposes, et cetera, et cetera. And once you set that trust up, you actually have to go through each document of your trust and basically create your trustees, your grantors, beneficiaries, everybody that's in your trust. And these are considered your bylaws. And that document, you basically will give that to the bank and have them open up a bank account in your trust name. And to create the trust name, you need to create an EIN number for that trust. And so when you create that EIN number, that basically allows that trust to dictate all your controlling assets and even you as a person to be basically securitized or protected under. Because when you put anything in a trust, it's protected. And so I ran into that when I wanted to protect certain aspects of the business and certain aspects of my name and the business name, et cetera, et cetera. And the trust actually acts as a person when you're dealing with legalese or lawful money or in law. It's an actual person. And so I started dealing with that, and I was just like, that shit was powerful. And it's just so many aspects of how a trust can be utilized. And when you set the account up, all you need to go to the bank with is a declaration of trust. That's the last page. It's the declaration of trust. That's where you get notarized. And then you need to come with a certificate of trust. Those are two main documents you need to utilize to open up a trust account. And then other than that, all the bylaws need to be written out by you about how your money is going to be dictated and transferred over if anything happens, or in the case of you being sued, et cetera, et cetera. And all that should be in your bylaws. And then after that, you know, it runs on its own. I had to scoop off to the second and think, I ain't want to have a rain moment, but you know.
Well, thank you. So,
you know, it's a lot, and I mean, it's more to it than I can actually explain. I am not a lawyer or attorney. This is for entertainment purposes. Oh yes, sir.
Yes. You won't want no trouble.
No, I don't want no smoke, man. I don't want no smoke. I'm in a smoking session. I don't want no smoke though.
But we do hope that you take these nuggets and research for yourself. 4.5, 5.5 listeners, do some homework, do a little due diligence.
Yeah.
Meantime, I've been over here shaking and baking these spices up because that's right. It's time for the hot seat. Okay. Dale, turn my flames up. We about to roast. All right. And it's just so fitting. We have a chef here. So we're gonna roast your ass. All right, now. Like I said, I'm getting bold with it now. I'm gonna jump out there first, Dale.
Turn it up.
Yeah, you can lean back this time. I got you. All right. Question number 1. What is your earliest memory of money?
When's the earliest memory? I think for me, my earliest memory of money, probably when I was like selling pencils. I used to sell pencils at school because people used to pencil fight, and I saw that's where the money. And so I used to make my quarters and nickels off that. That's how, you know. So that was my first interest in like seeing money transferred to my hands. You know, I seen money all around, you know, my parents, but when I started making money, it was like pencil fighting. I used to see people I used to buy a bunch of pencils from like the Dollar Tree or Walmart, whatever the store was at the time, and then I see people pencil fighting, and I always had a pencil ready for them. I was like, okay, you need another pencil, I'll give you a quarter. You remember pencil fighting back in the day?
Heck yeah.
You done brought back memories, boy. That's nostalgia right there.
We used to get our pencil out and be like,
y'all know about pencil. Yeah, you had the rubber duckies.
Yeah, that's right.
You had to chew off the ends.
Yeah, remember they had the rubber pencils, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the rubber ones. Yeah. I want the rubber duckies. Them just break easy.
Yeah, right. Yeah, man.
Okay, so that sounds like, once again, you watched and you researched, you thought about it, you like, wait a minute, and you supplied. Okay, I
Yeah.
like that.
He
I
saw
let
a
it ride.
niche. Right. Look, he saw a niche. Broken pencils. I could get you something that's not broken. I get some brand new Rod to Pack. I mean, that's
Right,
ingenious.
right. And they
I
not
wish I
rubber
would have
duckies.
thought of that.
They're not rubber duckies, man. You know,
I would have got paid back in middle school. I'm telling
man,
you.
I was getting paid.
Yo, it used to be
bro.
broken
I was
pencils
about
all over the
$10
place.
a day out there.
All
motherfucker.
over. I
It was
remember.
broken pencils all over the place. I remember them joints, man.
Yeah, we used to do it in the back of the bus. You remember that?
Yep. Snap pencils, just snap
Yeah.
Boiling.
everywhere.
Okay, all right. Well, that was an easy one. That was a little soft low ball. All right. Now, question number 2. What did your parents teach you about money?
Woo, nothing. I ain't gonna say nothing. I feel like they taught me the basic necessities that everyone know about money. You make money, you save money, and you flip it. You know what I'm saying? But I was never taught how to leverage money. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that as an adult I'm learning about, leveraging money. If I get $500, take that $500 and put it into a credit union or a Navy Federal credit union, and then get a unsecured or a secure line of credit, and then build that credit up, and then basically like utilize their money to fund things versus utilizing my money. I was never taught about like credit cards, and I was taught about making money, flipping it, and saving it. That's it.
Okay. That is a very good lesson because, in some households, saving is not prioritized because it's not possible.
Right. It's not
Check the check.
There's no money in that no more.
No, it's not. Not especially no banks putting in no bank and waiting for interest and stuff like that.
No. That's
Interest is
Interest
done.
dropped to like what, 1%, if that?
Some
exactly.
lower. Yes.
It's not the best way. It's not the best way.
Not at all. Not at all.
All right, Dale. I'm a little tired, and my dog just climbed up here next to me, so I'm gonna let you handle the last 2 because it's getting a little warm over here.
All righty. My man Alex.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what was, and I know as a businessman, entrepreneur, you probably have a lot of them, but give us your biggest mishap that you can mention online to millions of people. I said millions.
Your biggest money
Biggest money mishap.
My biggest money mishap.
If you have one.
Oh, I got a lot.
Everybody has one.
No, everybody don't have one.
Yes, they do. There's something bigger. Somebody done wasted money. Somebody done wasted money on something they had no business buying. Somebody done did something with money they wasn't supposed to. Everybody.
Not having a revenue model for your business. I feel like that shit messed me all the way up. Especially like developing an app. You were like, oh, I'm gonna use ads. I'm gonna use ads to make me money. I'm like, what am I, Facebook? I don't have, you gotta have a huge following to actually utilize ads to make money, advertisers to make money on your platform. And that's a form of social currency. I didn't have a huge following. And to build that huge following, it takes money to build those users. Users are looked at as money. Data is the biggest commodity at this point. And so I feel like that was my biggest mishap, not having a revenue model for my business on how to actually make money for my business when I'm creating money. When I'm creating the business. So I'm just losing money, basically. So yeah.
Can you give our listeners a couple of different examples of like what types of revenue models they could select? Like, for your business, it's a retail operation. So what would be a couple of like revenue model options that you could have selected if you had some sense? And I'm just
subscription based. No, you're right.
That is one. Yep, subscription based. You caught that. You heard what I said.
I was a fool.
Hey, could you give our audience a couple of examples of revenue models? Just in case, some people are not familiar with that terminology. What are a couple of different types of revenue models you could have selected?
So I would personally select subscription model because I feel like subscription model is revenue that you can actually make each month versus, and that revenue that you can use each month, that can go towards your burn rate, and that will allow you to actually scale out your business more efficiently and effectively. I don't want to know anything about any other model besides that one, because that's what I'm focused on.
Okay.
I know there's other revenue models out there, but that one, that's all I think about. I was like, yo, I wish I had a subscription-based model, because a subscription-based model is month-to-month income, or you can do a yearly income. Based off of how you want to divide it up or utilize it or segment it based off of your business model. But I would prefer the revenue model utilizing subscription-based.
Okay. I'll give you another example of a revenue model, which in my line of work, it's fee for service.
Facts.
The drawback to fee for service is that, you got to have proper planning and projections, or else there'll be a drought between sales. And that's just as simple as that. And I've experienced that a lot. And, after tax season, it'd be quiet around here. I understand the benefits of having a subscription-based model, but it don't necessarily work for certain types of businesses. So for yours, you could be like the cheese of the month club. Remember they used to have something like that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like boxes, you know what I'm saying? You
Yes,
send
they would
boxes
just
of
send
cheese.
it.
Yeah.
So, Dale, what else you got on the menu for Brother Alex tonight?
So the fourth and final question,
Uh-oh.
if
I'm
you were to
nervous.
talk to your younger self, right? What would you tell your younger self about money? And you can go all the way back to 5 if you want to.
You can go all the way back to them pencil fights, bro. What would you tell young Alex?
Right. Money is not real. And when I say money is not real, I mean in sense of the money depreciates each day, right? And so money is basically, if you actually look at money, money is not backed by anything at this point. It's not backed.
We talked about that.
Yeah. You
go see episode 1, brother. Go see episode 1. We talked all about that.
Yeah. And so, so if it's not backed by anything, that means the value of the money will go down each day. And so the actual money comes based off of the commerce and the amount of, I'm big on energy. So I say energy that the people put out. And so for me, I will learn that money is not real. So don't hold on to it, and don't be afraid to invest in it, because that's where the real wealth and real actual that's how you get your return, is actually putting your money out into the universe, putting your money into investments, putting your money into people. Because I studied like philanthropists, right? And I was just like, yo, how these dudes make all this money and then they give it away? Like, what the fuck is, it blew my mind. I was like, yo, and they tapped into like energy, yo. Like when you give money away, it comes back to you. And then they tapped into that actual energy. That's like the law of attraction type of energy.
Bam. I was just about to say, you hipping them to some solid game. He talking about the secret, y'all.
Yeah, facts.
If you know, you know. If you know, you know. Period.
So what age of you are you going back and telling that to? What age of you? What former age?
The age of last year. That's that.
Well, that is a young.
You only went back 1 year.
He like, let me get your ear, Alex. That's good. So basically, if we were to bring that back into some AAVE vernacular for our community, that means scared money don't make none, y'all.
Oh no,
you heard it here first.
That's right.
You heard it
sitting
here.
There, if your money just sitting there, it's just sitting there. It's not doing nothing for you. It's not helping you. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
All right, good. Well, I always enjoy talking to Alex. Alex is my guy 100%. And I'm looking forward to, staying involved with Team Rooted Delights and helping them scale out their operations to, infinity and beyond.
Look at the cheese signs, man. Look at that, man. He got his own cheese game. Find out.
Hey, man, they bang on vegan. So look, I got to give you this one real fast, right? And so we thought vegan food products was like, yo, this is gonna be all love. It's gonna be peace. Because when we first got into it, it was all about healing and all this is love. Oh, right. Veganism. Love. Yo, people are vicious in in this industry. Like, and then
What?
Competition.
No,
It's
wait a minute,
competition,
wait a
my
minute,
man.
wait a minute,
Competition.
wait a minute. I need
That's
the
right.
record scratch right here. Skirt, really?
yes,
Cutthroat
they,
in the
this-
cheese biz.
yo,
Cheese,
because
gang.
you're dealing with dairy products, because dairy runs. You're dealing with meat. You're dealing with people who are like that's like old money, and now you got newcomers that
Yeah.
come into the business, and he's like, yo, they like if you ever get a chance, check out Miyoko. Miyoko created a product. Her product is cashew based. She's been dealing with the dairy company. They sued her about 3-4 times,
Oh.
and that it was the dairy company. For us, we had a competitor here, and he literally got our products off the shelf for like 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
Very, very competitive.
Wow.
And then he was just like banging on us. And so, you know, for us, it's like, oh, then we was like, yo, how we gonna go about it? Should we just like, you know, just be the bigger person? And I was like, you know what? We gotta bang back. So we banged on him.
Damn.
And then so we
Straight from the streets of Richmond.
you got to. And so we had one product at the time, and so we came out with another product. And then I want people to understand too, like in business, it ain't pretty, it's dirty. You know what I'm saying? That's business. You know what I'm saying? Business is you keep your heart is for your house and your head is for the streets. You know what I'm saying? And so we had to realize it's a separation. So when you're dealing with any type of business, could be yoga, they banging, like you competing. It's somebody competing, you know what I'm saying? And like it don't matter if it's vegan, yoga, you can be doing all organic teas, you're competing against somebody.
If you don't have a patent on your product,
Come on.
you best believe there's gonna be all kind of competition. There's gonna be people trying to bite off your style. And once they see you got it rolling, they're gonna be like, oh, that's a good idea. Let me do it.
Come on. And so I even learned with like products, you can't patent the product. So I was just like blown away. I was like, yo, we gotta get this recipe patent. It was like, patent recipes? You can't patent a recipe. I'm like, what? They said you can patent the process.
Yep.
And so I was like, interesting. And he was like, yeah, so when you making a product and it's a recipe, it's for everybody. You know what I'm saying? But but the process of making it is different. And so I had a guy tell me this. He's like, yo, the best thing about products is branding. Like, look at Band-Aids. That's a brand.
Yes.
That blew my mind away. Google is a brand, but I gotta Google something. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Yeah, it's a verb now.
When it turns into a verb, you've made it. Absolutely.
It rocks.
What was the other one?
So it's actually an adhesive medical strip.
Adhesive medical strip. Yeah.
Right. It's a bandage, but we call it
It's
a
a
bandage.
Right.
We call it a Band-Aid. Absolutely.
It's a Band-Aid.
And that's the name. Yeah. When the product name becomes the noun or the verb,
Like Xerox.
yeah, like Xerox.
Exactly.
Xerox something. Absolutely.
Well, that is great.
Velcro.
Man.
Velcro. Yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't even think about Velcro.
We say you
Yeah,
Velcro
you think
something,
about
but
that.
that's not what it's called.
Yeah. So when you do that, and they use your, see, you winning because now you can license that out. See,
There
now
you go.
Yeah. So.
Well, thank you for sharing some free jewelry with us. We're
No
definitely glad to have you back. We would love to feature you, and if you could grab your beautiful business partner for us the next time.
Yes.
We'd be glad to have you guys back. Definitely
Yeah.
supportive of everything Rooted. And thanks again, Alex.
Alex, one more time. The name of your brand and
And the
last time,
handles. Drop them handles.
and them handles. One more time.
RootedDelights.com is the website, and Rooted Delights IG, Facebook, and Instagram. We do not have a TikTok at this point.
Okay.
Do you have a
Coming
TikTok?
soon to a
Coming
theater near
soon.
you.
Hmm?
Coming soon.
Okay,
Coming soon.
Coming soon. All right.
But thank you, Alex. We definitely appreciate
Yeah, man, you got to
your
start the
time.
vegan cheese challenge. You know what I'm saying? You start that.
Right.
you gonna buy
As
it.
they coming off those milk crates, let them fall into some cheese.
You know
Then-
Right. There you go.
No, wait a minute. Then the dairy folks gonna get after you. They're like, wait a minute, those are dairy.
Oh, the
Nah.
dairy
folks.
folks is gangster. Don't sleep on the dairy
No,
folks.
they
I'm a little
gangster,
scared.
You-
I'm
yeah,
a little
you trying to
scared.
take their
Fuck,
peoples.
bro, they go hard, man. I was
They
I'm a
go
little
hard to
scared.
they
fake.
be like they own Kellogg's, they own
That makes sense.
They own a lot.
Milk and
Their-
cereal. That's
their
right.
industry own everything. I'm like, they
Yeah.
own, they part of the cancer associations. I was just like, yo, it blew my head off. I was like, yo, they got that
Wow.
long paper. So, you know,
It runs deep, my man. Runs
Yeah.
deep.
That's crazy.
it run deep.
Thank you so much, Alex. Alex, we
Thank you for
gladly
having
have
me.
you guys back anytime. It was a pleasure.
Absolutely,
Thank you
man.
so much.
I appreciate
You, Alex.
All right,
Thank you,
Alex, I'm gonna
thank you.
call you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Man,
Bye.
take it easy.
So once again, we would like to thank our featured guest, Alex Harris of Rooted Delights, for coming on and sharing some gems with the fans. We appreciate Rooted Delights, and if you get a chance, check them out. They are ROOTEDDELIGHTS on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. For
Good
Dirty
cheese.
Money Talk Podcast, this is your girl, Stephanie Arrington, and my boy.
Dale Walton.
All right. We'll talk to y'all next week. Y'all have a good one. Be safe.
Please, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Press that button.
Like and subscribe.
And subscribe.
All right, bro. I'm out.
Follow.
Peace.